Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. I say this because it's like 6:12 in the morning. Um, I've been up for a while, so that's what happens on Saturday mornings. Typically, I work early while everybody's sleeping. Um, yeah, so happy third week of April already. It's crazy that we're already halfway through the month, and excited to get going into the summer shred this coming week. So if you're signed up for that, get excited. If you're not signed up for that, I'm sorry you missed out. We did sell it out. It was awesome. Super pumped for that. So, giving you the rundown on the programming this week. So, a great week of programming this last week. If you watched my video last week, I talked about some of the expectations of how we're doing things. So I encourage you, put out these videos every week, and I do throw little nuggets in there around what to expect in the programming, why we're doing certain things in certain phases, and so I really encourage you to go back and watch those videos if you haven't already. This week you'll see a couple things. One of which is we're going to run this week. Yeah, blow your mind here, but we are going to run this week. We're going to implement some lower volume initially, and then we're going to continue to build on that. A couple of reasons that it's important to build on that is so that we don't wind up with a bunch of people with like shin splints right away. Your lower legs should be pretty prepared for that for the amount of jump rope we've been doing, and that's been intentional. But we are going to have some running this week. We're also going to have a couple of the areas that we can start to focus on building for Murph, which will come up at the end of May. If you're not familiar with Murph, it's a Memorial Weekend workout that we do every year. It's a hero workout, very popular in CrossFit. But it begins and ends with a mile run. In the middle there's a lot of pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. If you're like, hey, that already seems insane to me, don't worry. We scale and modify accordingly, just the same. We do partner styles, all sorts of stuff. But you're going to start to see that name come into programming notes. So I just want to make you aware of that. Starting out this week, though, we are going to do a buy-in and a cash-out type concept. So that means you're going to buy in with 1,000-meter row or 800-meter rows for the gals, and you're going to cash out with that 1,000 and 800-meter row. But in between, you don't have any rowing. You're just going to go. You're going to be doing like your 15, 10, 5 of toe to bar, 30, 20, 10 of lunges. So this workout fits kind of in this like 14 to 17-minute range for a lot of us, depending on how well you row, as well as the middle work in there. So that being said, very demanding on the midline, very demanding on the hips and the legs. When you have that buy-in and cash out, that's kind of like a pre-exhaust and then an exhaust at the end. But really going to work on the stamina of our legs and our lower body and our midline there. So be prepared for that. Also, though, it allows you to kind of ease into your week a little bit when you have a little bit more about just a body weight type complex. We're not lifting heavy right away, getting crazy there. We are going to lift heavy the next day. The next day, we're going to do a deadlift, two variations of deadlift. This is really a lower body strength day, but I, I I believe that you get the best of both worlds when you deadlift because it is a full body pull. If you're someone that wants to build strength, the deadlift is one of the best ways to do it because you are building strength throughout the entire body. The other piece to that, though, is the recovery demand and the metabolic demand of the body. So, if you're someone that wants to lose weight or improve your aesthetics of your body, it also, because of the physiological demands of it, it also demands a lot out of our metabolism. It demands a lot out of our recovery in our nervous system. So, you get that uptick and the increase in metabolism. Um, so, you know, one of the things that oh gosh, who is it? I don't know, one of the CrossFit greats. He always the phrase is that the legs feed the wolf, right? And when we train our lower body, it just makes drastic effect on our overall body strength in general and development. So we've got deadlifts. We're adding some pauses in there. Remember, we're in this base level of strength training, so you'll see pauses in there so that when we take the pauses away, that stability is still there when we get more dynamic. So that's kind of the phase that we're in right now. That's why you'll see those pauses exist there. When we take those things away, weights go way up. So that's huge. Then we've got a double kettlebell suitcase deadlift. So again, changing the implement. I've talked about this before. When we change the implement and we go back, like so, when you have the suitcase deadlift type thing, you're gonna have two kettlebells moving on either side. So the stability that you need there on those kettlebells and the position that you have to be in will carry you over when you go back to the straight bar later on. So that's why we're putting that into an accessory piece there. You've got a pause in there at the top, so a little time under tension, very, very small amount. Some weighted hollow rocks, and then finishing off with some banded hamstring curls. On Wednesday, we're gonna have our first little dosage of giving you a taste of some Murph prep. So again, Murph's at the end of May, but we're already beginning to kind of trickle some things in there. One of which is to start to focus on pull-up strength and pull-up volume. So if you're someone who wants to do Murph with full pull-ups, number one, you got to build your strict pull-up strength, but you also have to build your kipping pull-up capacity. The other piece to this is you'll see, and again, those of you new to Murph, don't freak out here, but there are people that will wear a weight vest during that entire workout. Well, if you're someone who wants to wear a weight vest, then the strict pull-up strength stuff is really important for you to be loading the pull-up, right? So doing a max minus two set there, so we're kind of working at that capacity piece. The conditioning piece there is going to be a 12 pull-ups, 15 or 50 double unders, and then a 100-meter sandbag carry. We've said this before. Coach Sam put it in his notes again. A carry is a walk, and even if you try to rush the carry at all, like even mentally rush it, it increases your heart rate, and that's actually where we need to bring our heart rate down a little bit. The double under should be like a jog, okay? So that's like a running type. It's a monostructural exercise. I've said this before, and people are like, maybe it's a jog to you. But if the double unders or the single unders get your heart rate up, then gosh darn it, you got to be able to get your heart rate back down on the carry. So not rushing the carry, being methodical and smooth about the carry is extremely important in that workout. Um, I said on Friday that my wheelhouse workout was Friday's workout, and loved the workout. It was great. Let me like slowly ease into it because the negative splits, so it kind of let me warm up into it, which my body appreciates. But Coach Sam threw something in this week, and I think he did it just intentionally because he gave me he like handed me a free workout last week. So he gave me some hang clusters. If you if you are familiar with the hang cluster, it is essentially a hang clean into a squat into a thruster, right? Um, I despise these things. The only benefit here, the only thing I like is it's only 5 reps, um, and I don't have to go to the floor every time. If I had to go to the floor every time, it would be absolutely no good. But we're going to do an every 3 minutes for 5 rounds. So you get some rest in there, but how hard or how fast you work really determines the amount of rest you get. So 5 hang clusters. One of the things here is we don't have a lot of like numbers on this, right? So we're going to start at a weight that's, what you would typically maybe thruster. So a common thruster reps or load is like 95, 65. So 95 for the guys, 65 for the gals. But that's usually a higher rep workout. That being said, there are a lot of reps in this workout that are going to increase your heart rate. So maybe that's a good starting point, but we can always make an adjustment. So during the every 3 minutes, you can make an adjustment during your rest time to bring your thrusters down a little bit or bring them up a little bit or build on this. So I actually might attack this and build up each round and try to get heavier each round unless I find just a sweet spot weight there. That being said, if you're someone that's a little newer to this movement or just trying to get the concept of the movement, stick at the same weight all the time and try to perfect the movement. You got to remember is that, when I go to attack this workout, I know this movement and I can do this movement. So I might actually build up or go along. So if you have a little bit more advanced skill there, you might be able to build on that, but find the sweet spot that you need in that weight because there's not really a projected weight there. 10 burpees over the bar. This is where you want to kind of push the pace on it. And then after that, you're going to do a 200-meter run. So again, that 200-meter run, low volume there. So you're going to get 5 200-meter runs within the workout. So, a total of, 1,000 meters, right? But just kind of touching on that running a little bit. So that is going to be kind of your first dose of running, getting you ready for Murph there. Then finish off with some Tabata Russian twists. You could load that a little bit if you wanted to. I wouldn't load it high. I think Coach Sam in the notes mentioned 18 pounds, maybe max, because with that Tabata, remember it's 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. 10 seconds feels like not at all. 20 seconds feels like a lifetime by the time you get to rounds 4 or 5. So you want to make sure that you're getting quality reps and consistent reps throughout. So if you load it too high, it's just going to shut down your reps later on. And we want to build that capacity in those amount of reps within that short time domain. So you'll see that Tabata work pop in a little bit more often in our training, because it's a nice feature to get a lot of work in a really short amount of time in some of those finisher works that you guys see happen. So you'll see that come in there. Again, getting a little bit of running started there. You'll see some more running trickling in. On Friday, going to go to a 24-minute EMOM. So if you don't know what the EMOM is, it's every minute on the minute. So that means in minute 1, I do X, minute 2, I do Y, minute 3, I do Z, and then I come back, right? You got some scheduled rest in here in minute 4, but 5 push-ups to max ability. So we did this a couple of weeks back where we actually could load the push-ups. This is one that you could do again because you have that rest interval to where I can have my friend load a plate on my back, or I could be in a declined position or whatever else. I really challenged some clients this when we did this a few weeks ago to push the envelope of your ability to do the push-ups. So it's only 5 push-ups to max ability. So again, this is like a strength set for your push-ups. So much like the strict pull-ups were on Wednesday of this coming week here, that's like your strict pull-up, building the base of the strict pull-up to build the kipping pull-up, right? This is building the base of strength of your push-up to build the higher rep push-up stuff. So I'm making the engine stronger and bigger to then be able to handle more volume later on. So that's where that 5 push-ups to max ability. In Murph, we will have push-ups as well. So that's kind of my connection there for you. 8 double kettlebell snatches. Now, one of the things that we deal with the kettlebell snatch, we have people that they bang it on their wrist or whatever else. Here's the deal. You can learn this movement and you can learn it well, and it won't bang your wrist up, right? That being said, I think you have to choose whether that's the skill you want to develop, right? Is it going to be detrimental to your fitness? No. Is it going to be a gap in skill development? Yes. And that's really because it's the technique and the skill pieces there and the athleticism of that movement really can carry over when you go to other implements. Um, you got to kind of decide if that's the answer for you if you want to learn that, but like don't get discouraged by if you're banging it off your wrist. It's a skill development piece. Work with your coaches on developing that skill, if that's something that you're interested in. That being said, can you get this job done with dumbbells to get work in? Yes. To just get work in, absolutely you can. It does change the movement a little bit and does change the skill that you're developing, but there is a level of development with the kettlebells that you do not get with the dumbbells. So I encourage you to be positive around it. Try to work with a coach on it. Try to develop there. That being said, I don't need you walking around with bruised up wrists and sore for 5 days from this. So you got to make the best choice for you. But it's not the same. That's okay when it comes to hey, I'm just developing fitness versus I'm trying to work on a skill and develop a skill, and that skill does carry over other pieces. So, so just my little touch point on double kettlebell snatches, because I know that gets brought up occasionally. 12 and 9 on the calorie echo bike there. The other thing too, I would encourage you is if we need the C2 bikes for numbers purposes, you can use them, but they are different. So your calories have to be changed. So your coaches do have charts that can adjust the calories on those. It is not the same. I use the Echo bike and I use the C2 bike a lot with my PT clients, and they are way more excited to get on the C2 bike unless I crank up the damper than they are the Echo bike. The Echo bike is harder to turn over calories. So if you're going to use the C2 bike just for numbers purposes, you got to adjust the calories on that. And I would actually increase the damper setting a little bit because it is easier. So I'd rather you, I want you to have to work a little harder on the lower body there. So on Saturday, you're welcome for this one because Coach Millie's, I mean, she's a mean little programmer sometimes. I saw this one ahead of time because Coach Millie and I looked at the numbers on this, and we started playing with the logistics of it because I told her in the first way we had it programmed, I don't know that anybody would have finished the first couple rounds, and you guys have just been hanging out. You'll understand here. So 10 synchro dumbbell front squats. So you're going to have those double dumbbells here, 4 burpees together, so synchro burpees. And then with the remaining time, you're going to do an AMRAP of toes to bar. You get to quit. That's in 2 minutes, by the way. So this is a sprint. You got to move quickly to get to the toes to bar because if you don't get through the other stuff with time remaining in your 2 minutes, you get no toes to bar in. And the important piece is that you get the toes to bar in because you continue this process until you reach 100 toes to bar. And then you are going to alternate who's doing the toes to bar each round. So you really have toes to bar twice in the week, Monday, which is lower volume, and then on Saturday, and you're going to share that with a partner. But got to sprint a little bit here. That's why we actually have the double dumbbell front squat because the logistics are a little bit faster with that one there. And then with a barbell, and then your 4 burpees. Moving quickly through those 4 burpees, we want those. They're only 4 burpees because I want them to be fast to allow for the time to get through the toes to bar. Toes to bar can be cycled rather quickly, but you got to have the time to do it, and 2 minutes is not a lot of time. So good luck. Good luck with that one, and you're welcome. So all right, guys. Well, hey, have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. If you have any questions around programming, always, 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 we're available for those questions. Please don't hesitate to reach back out. You get this email in your weekly email. That email goes back to Coach Millie, but you can also email me, Josh at CrossFit-MetroEast.com, and happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.